Hey, I'm Carla Rand. This podcast is here to take you from struggling to success, to help you understand why you're stuck and how to overcome personal challenges. Let's listen in to today's coaching session. All right, well, I have Greg and I have Kathy here with me. So Greg Garwood has done actually some coaching with me, and he's coached me on things. It started kind of with nutrition, but it started going more than that, and I found that Greg was very helpful for me. So he actually coached me on just a lot of mindset things, and suddenly I became aware of things that I wasn't aware of in my life, and it just really helped me to get further, to progress. And not only was it what Greg told me and talked to me about and asked me questions about, but he also made really good referrals for me. So when I first met Greg and I was like, okay, I need help with my nutrition, I was quite a mess actually. And so even just in the short time that I've been working with him and his wife, I've made a lot of progress. So I just want to start by just introducing Greg in that way. I have a lot of respect for Greg. He's been very helpful for me and a lot of others. And then we have Kathy here, and Kathy is here just to kind of share some of her struggles and to get some help from Greg. So I'm just going to hand this over to Greg now. And Greg, I'll let you just kind of take it from here.
Sure. Okay. Sounds great. So thanks, Kathy, for doing this. And thanks, Carla, for having me. First off, I really appreciate that. I think this will be really just enjoyable all in all, and hope to help you make some progress, Kathy, in wherever you're looking to focus on. And let me just start by saying some of what we talked about right before we went on is, how this normally flows, right, is usually I'd have someone fill out an assessment and all that kind of stuff. So I'd have a little more background. We're going to be kind of just doing that right here on the call today. And so a little different than normal. I've got a little bit of background that Kathy had shared before with Carla. And so I've got some of that to go on, but we're just going to kind of just naturally dive in and see where this goes. And Kathy, feel free to kind of direct me or let me know if something's just something you're not ready to dig into deeply right now. Let me know. That's fine. And just kind of help me direct. And I will tend to, if you reveal something, I am going to dig into it a little bit. So just be ready for that.
Just be ready for my tears, as we talked about.
Absolutely. No problem. I fully understand. Like I said, I'll admit it right here is I'm a crier. So I'll throw that out to the world. But so I'm with you. I understand. And that's just part of the process. So perfectly normal. So I guess let me just ask first off. So I'm just going to kind of review what I have gotten so far, Kathy, and you tell me if this is all accurate. Okay. Does that work for you?
Yeah, that works.
Okay. So before, at least, and things may have changed now, so you can always update this information. But before you had shared with Carla and myself that you were dealing with a lot of exhaustion is kind of one of the big things coming up for you. Also, you feel like you're carrying a giant weight on your shoulders. You said 1,000 pounds daily. Talked about your job, and you're very much, yes, I agree with you, in the front lines of, and my understanding is even, at least what I'm hearing is grocery store workers and everything are actually being treated as on the front line with the vaccines coming out and everything, because they're so exposed and considered, so needed. So you're definitely in that position. So I empathize with you on that. That's stressful. And I used to work for the fire department also and was a paramedic. So I understand that frontline exposure. I'm not doing that anymore, but I get what that's like. I just want you to know I can kind of understand that feeling and being exposed to a lot of things that other people aren't. And then let me just see here. So you've raised 7 kids. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And you were talking about how you barely raised your voice through all of that. And I have not raised children, but I can certainly understand that. I've been, seen my sister a lot evolve and how they've raised their children. So I know that struggle is certainly real. And even again, from my previous career, before I got into this stuff, I very much saw what that could be like, right? And all the struggles in a family and all that stuff. And certainly have my own struggles just with even my wife and myself with Kristen. So I can only imagine kids being thrown in the middle of that, much less 7.
Well, I had 4 of my own, 4 naturally, but the man that I was with had 3 of his. So, and we were together for almost 10 years. So I feel like they're my children. We still talk, right? So
sure. Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I just want to clarify that. I don't want everyone to think I against those 7 children. Yeah.
That counts as 7 to me.
It does to me too.
So, and just capturing the rest of this, it sounds like, so you're feeling odd it sounds like about that you're able to be so calm through that whole process of raising all the children. But now because you're feeling this weight and exhaustion that you're not able to do that anymore, and that things are coming up from you or out of you, I guess. You're running on empty, sleeping's not going well, your stomach's not tolerating food very well, and maybe crying more than, I know you said you're a crier, but crying more than normal, it sounds like, for you. And so causing you headaches. And you said wine, meaning like, was that you feel like
not like drinking wine, as in like I feel like I'm whining all the time.
Okay.
Yes.
Sure. Okay. So I guess the big root of this sounds like it's the exhaustion piece, and then really the sleep and eating stuff, I guess, is concerning as well. So where would you like to start? What's most important to you to dig into?
I guess I don't like where I'm coming from. I was always known for patience. I was always known for just, letting things slide. I didn't need, too much direction. I just kind of went with the flow and things worked out great. And now I feel like if I don't have a task list, I'm a mess. Like I feel like I'm so tired that I don't even want to concentrate on like future endeavors. I just want, give me my list for the day, let me get through it, and then we'll go from there. So it's like, get up, have the coffee, go to work, come home, do the dishes, okay, I'm done for the day. Whereas before it was like, well, if I get this done, I'll have time for that. And, maybe I'll go for a walk later. And now I just feel like by the time I'm home, I'm like, okay, I'm in my safe zone. Goodbye world. And I don't like that. Like, I am kind of like that social butterfly, and I used to love to go for walks. I take pictures, and I haven't done that in so long that I'm just like, who am I? Like, where's Kathy? Right? Like, I'm Kathy, the grocery store. Like, I work at Shoppers Drug Mart, so I'm Kathy, the cashier, and then I'm Kathy, the girlfriend, and that's it. That's all I've got. I'm away from my kids. I'm away from my grandkids. And I just kind of feel emotionally and mentally like exhausted, if that makes sense.
It does. Yeah, I totally understand that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and I'm hearing a few things, and tell me if this is correct. I'll reflect back to you a lot of these things to make sure I'm capturing what you're meaning.
Absolutely.
So it sounds like some challenges with focus, right?
Yep.
And then it sounds to me like you feel like you've kind of lost yourself. Like you don't have your own identity currently. It sounds like you're real you. Like you have your work you and your girlfriend you, but it sounds like your passion's kind of lost. Is that accurate?
It is. Like the things I guess I used to like do that grounded me. Like, I know this is gonna sound silly, but like I love karaoke. Used to go to karaoke all the time. It was like my time to be me, hang out with the people that had the same likes as me. And now that there's COVID, like there is no karaoke. There is no, the social part of me that decides who I want to spend my time with has been like taken away. So all I have is my work family and, the customers that come through, that I get my kind of social 5 seconds there, but that's it. Right. And being a hugger and a social butterfly, I don't know, it feels like it's changed me somehow, and I don't know how to like center that and deal with that, if that makes any sense.
Yes, it does. Absolutely. So, and again, just what I'm hearing. So one clarification, I guess, is were you feeling any of this or sensing it before COVID happened, or has it only been
I don't think so.
Since? Okay.
I think maybe just a little bit. I moved here in October, up in GP, and
like two months ago.
No, like last year. So before COVID hit, right?
Got it. Okay.
And so I was in Edson, where all my family and friends and like my whole life pretty much is.
Okay.
And then I moved here, and then, like I said, in October, and then COVID hit, January, February. So that kind of kiboshed, visitation, going home. My mom had a heart attack. So sorry, mom, but my mom had a heart attack. And so she's very vulnerable. So, I can't do that. My grandson has quite some physical issues. So I don't want to, give that to him either. And being that I work at a Shoppers Drug Mart, like I just stayed away from the family, right? So being a family matriarch, really, I mean, I was the mom of all the kids, and everyone met at my house for Christmas and met at my house for Thanksgiving. And to go from all of that to now nothing, yeah, I feel like since COVID, I don't know what my role is.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm hearing a few things that I want to just, again, kind of touch base with you and see if this makes sense and if it resonates with you being true, right? So I hear you saying that a lot of this has happened since COVID, and I have no doubt, right? So what I'm hearing you tell me, though, is can I ask just a quick short question and then kind of come
Absolutely.
back? So I guess since you've moved and before COVID, were you starting to I guess was this going on before that a little bit? I mean, it sounds like you've had so much upheaval. Did you start to make some friends or a friend network at all in your new place?
Oh yeah, like definitely. My work family has been my saving grace. Yeah, I guess it's kind of just like all of it. Like I just feel like I was missing home that little bit, and it's only a 4-hour drive, so it is. I could have went home on the weekends, that sort of thing. Like works really great for that time off, and then I just feel like after that decision was kind of taken from me, that all of a sudden it's like, I don't want to say prisoned here because that doesn't sound good, but I kind of felt like all of a sudden my bubble got really, really small. And so on top of being homesick, so to say, like, because I'm so close to my family, then all of the stuff that I used to do that made me feel better about not being home, like the karaoke and the going for the walks and all of that stuff. The karaoke got taken away, and then it's just kind of like, I know that sounds silly, but that is like my outlet.
Yeah,
and then I get home after work, and now I'm just like, I don't want to go for a walk. I don't care. Like, yeah. And so that isn't me. So I'm struggling with that a lot.
Okay. Well,
that's my pain point.
Sure. So, I mean, again, it sounds like multiple things are coming into play. So I would guess a lot of times, would you agree that sometimes we aren't aware of the things that are really messing with us? That they're hard to identify?
Absolutely. Because sometimes I can go days without feeling anything. And then I'll be, I don't know, talking to a customer, and all of a sudden I'm just like, the switch comes on, and I'm just like, I have no patience for this. Like, carry on. Out you go. Next, please.
Right.
So, yeah. And it just hits me like that. And I'll just go to the lunchroom and I can't let it go. And I'm just like, okay, my goodness, Kathy, like it was one customer out of 75 today, like let it go. And I just struggle letting that go. And that isn't how I usually am. So I don't know how to deal with that.
So going way back again, I'm trying to kind of dig back, and a lot of the thing we're trying to do here is find root causes. And so I'm hearing things, and if they're not true for you, that's fine. But I just want to see if this resonates with you. So going back all the way to your move, I guess I'm going to ask another question to dig back further. May I ask why you moved, or were you forced to? Was it a choice?
No, it was my choice. My boyfriend lives here. We've been together it'll be 4 years right away here. And so we used to drive back and forth all the time, and the highway between there, like winter is it's treacherous, right? Mm-hmm. So after a year and a half of doing the whole back and forth thing, he's like, why don't you just move? And I was like, you know what? I've lived in my hometown for 40 years. Like, let's give it a whirl. And so here I am. Yep. And like things are good. It's not that they're not good. It's just,
Okay. And so I guess So it doesn't sound like that was traumatic. Like moving was a positive thing for you.
Well, yes, it was positive, but again, like homesick, right? Like I never been away from my children or my mom for that long, right? And it's most of my kids, you know, they don't come visit, they work, they have their own lives, right? So it's pretty much like when I get time to go down there and see them, which is, you know, we used to live across the street from each other or just down the road. So so that was actually kind of a little bit traumatic. It took a lot of adjusting. Yeah.
Okay. And so let me just, one thing I want to do is really normalize a lot of this for you so you don't feel like any of this is wrong or your fault or anything like that, right? Because, you know, you've gone through some of the biggest upheavals and changes that people go through in general, right? So you moved your location totally. You went into a new living situation at the same time. That's 2, right? You were pulled away from all of your family. That's 3. Right? You changed jobs. That's 4.
Yep.
Is it a totally different job, may I ask? Or
totally different job.
What were you doing before?
I was working at at Petro-Canada, like a bulk station, doing fuels, oils, lubricants, that kind of thing.
Yep.
To work in cashier, but I've always like done customer service. My whole life.
Sure. But that's 4 so far, right?
Yeah.
So that's move, relationship, job, family change, right? Not getting to see them as much. So you've had 4 major shifts, right, of all that, and about things that it sounds to me like maybe you're a person, do you like kind of stability and routine most of the time?
I am. I mean, raising 7 children, I mean, without that, you're not going to survive. You're not going to survive. So, you know, I think that's a part of it. My mom used to say, I'm a giver. I enjoy cooking for 7. I enjoyed, you know, that stuff. And now there's 2 of us. And so it is, I feel like I said, I don't know what my role is. I don't know if that makes sense.
How long? Another thing, I guess, is how. I may ask your age first off.
Oh yeah, 44.
44. Okay.
Yeah.
Just trying to get an idea of where you are in stages of life, right?
Yeah, you bet.
And so 44 years old. And so you said grandmother. So how long have all your children not been living in your home? Are they all like grown?
That's also another story. But anyways, well, my youngest is 18.
Okay.
She's gonna be 19 in March. She hasn't been at home. She's like kind of lived with her dad. That's a whole nother ball of wax. But I'd say probably, I'm gonna say about 4 years.
Okay.
4 years since I've had no kids at home.
Okay, I see. So that's a little bit.
Living at home, but I guess it's like they don't ever really go when you live in a small town, right? So like, oh, I heard mom's making, you know, roasts. So then like all your kids show up. So even though they haven't lived at home, they don't really ever.
Sure.
You see them almost on a daily basis, right?
So then I'm going to go with number 5 is that, I mean, you moved away from family, but really you didn't, it sounds like to me, correct me if I'm wrong. It sounds to me like you kind of are experiencing like the empty nesters syndrome because you didn't really have to go through that when they all moved out because they were so close and always come into your house, right? As you just described. So you're all together doing all the things that families love to do, right? Yep. And they're families that get along well, at least love to do. So it sounds like you have that. So I'd say that's a 5th thing is you're also have gone through really empty nester syndrome, 4 years kind of delayed. Do you know what I mean? Of that feeling?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you're talking to me about not knowing kind of your place and feeling like you have a purpose a lot, like or part of your purpose is gone. Like maybe you still have the work customer service purpose, but now your family purpose has been, you feel it probably sounds like ripped away.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Actually, probably a lot of it. Like I miss it. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I miss them and I miss it. It's like being a mom was my favorite job.
Yes.
And now I don't. I mean, you're still a mom, but it's not the same.
Right. I totally get that. And that's So I'm going to guess, since it's causing you to be emotional, that is a large part of this. Would that be accurate?
Yep. It definitely is. And I have a grandson and a granddaughter. Like, my granddaughter I've only seen pretty much twice in her whole little life.
Okay.
Just with COVID. And so all of the best parts of what I loved, I feel, trigger things.
Sure.
That normally it wouldn't bother me.
Right.
People talk about their kids and having them home for Christmas, and I'm like, aw, I want my kids home for Christmas, that kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Again, what I'm hearing is, so that's 5 things we're talking about that are pretty major traumas in people's lives, major life changes and upheaval and stuff like that. You've changed basically every major aspect in your life all in the past year. And then
when you say it like that, I'm just like, holy man, I guess I really have. But when you're in it, living it, it's like a natural progression, I guess. I felt like, anyways, why am I being such a worrier about things like that I can't control, and just Kathy, just move on, and this isn't a big deal. You're an adult. Deal with it like an adult.
Well, oh boy. So, okay, we're going to dive into all that in a minute. So I'm going to say here, so we've got 5 things we talked about so far. So then the 6th thing happened, right, is COVID. And so it sounds like the one thing that has been the most important and most fulfilling thing to you in your lifetime. We all strive for fulfillment and, passion and purpose kind of thing, but really that's fulfillment. So that was ripped away from you. And then a few months later, it was like double ripped away from you, right? Because COVID hit. And so now you can't even really visit them, right? Yeah. So I guess all you can do is probably, I hope you get to maybe video chat and some things like that a little bit.
Absolutely. My grandson and I are FaceTimers.
Okay. So so I mean, really, that's like 6 things we're talking about that are major traumas, right? That were happening to you already. And then adding COVID, and it made the biggest one for you worse. So it really ripped the rug out from under you, right? So I guess, again, let's normalize some of this and realize that, first off, you are going through some of the most major, again, upheavals and traumas that a person goes through. And even though they may be normal life changes, right, that doesn't make it easy. That doesn't mean that you won't grieve those things and those changes and the changing of the season in life that you're in. Right? Because you're going into the 3rd quarter, let's say, of life, if you will, right? If you're in your 40s, right? And if we kind of block that in chunks a little bit, we kind of go through 4 seasons of life, right?
Yeah.
So I would say, right, you're kind of moving into that next season, and that's traumatic in and of itself for any of us. And especially, so again, I didn't have that role, like I haven't been a parent, so I didn't have that part. So I'm 46. I'll be 47 in a couple of months.
Okay.
So I didn't have that part for me, right? So I can't say that I can exactly know what that's like, but I can imagine, right? And just from studying these types of things, I know that that's a major trauma and shift. So one of the biggest things, so you said a few things a little while ago. So now that we've identified a lot of those traumas and kind of normalized them and said, like, really, it's okay for you to feel like this, right? Like, I want to really touch on something here, and I'm hearing you do something to yourself that I would like to give you the freedom to not do anymore. And I know for me, sometimes in life, and tell me if this resonates with you, sometimes I have to have other people give me permission to stop beating myself up or having an expectation of myself that's maybe not realistic. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Like, you're hard on yourself. Like, we're our own worst critic.
I am my worst critic. Absolutely.
Right? Okay. Yep. So with that, I guess some of what I'm getting at is sometimes I have to have permission. And I guess, not saying you need my permission, you don't. But I want to kind of pass that to you a little bit. I'm hoping this is helpful for you, because you don't need to feel guilty about going through and grieving all of these traumas and dramas and upheavals that you've gone through in the past year or so, right? It's normal for you to feel this way. And to express it's great. Like, if crying is the way to express that energy out of you, then please, let that out. And then, so this gets into a couple of things, and that's judgment, right? And self-compassion. and it's making a shift is, and tell me if this resonates for you as we go here, but that's what I'm hearing is you're talking to yourself in ways that you're judging yourself. I was hearing some things come out that are like you're feeling kind of bad or wrong, or that you shouldn't, right? You shouldn't do this, or you should do that. So the first thing I'll say to you is please don't should all over yourself, right? That's the kind of half joke way of saying that.
Yeah.
But we should ourselves, like I should have done that. I shoulda, coulda, woulda, done such and such. First off, we can't always control those things. You mentioned control earlier. We'll talk about that too. So you can't control all of these things. Some of them were your choice, right? Like you chose to move and shift the relationship aspect, and it sounds like that's been beneficial in many ways. But also that move has been one of the hardest things in your life because of the family piece for you and your children.
Absolutely.
So even something you want to see as very positive in this relationship and this move, it sounds like, right, it's a double-edged sword. Like you feel torn about it because it's also one of the biggest traumas for you, right? And it's causing you pain.
Yeah, I guess I never really looked at it that way. I felt like if I missed home, and I mean, like really missed home, and then I'm failing. I don't know why I think this way, but I kind of felt like if I acknowledge that part of me that misses my family I don't want to be here, then it makes it like I don't want to be here, but I do want to be here. So it is like almost a struggle that I'm like, I love my family here. I love my boyfriend. I love my job. I love my work family, but I miss my actual family. So then I don't know how to, I don't know, I guess, I don't know what the word is, to combine it so that I'm okay with not being okay with being home and not okay with not being here. I don't know. I guess it kind of sounds confusing, but
sure. Well, and it is, isn't it? I mean, that's what I'm getting at. Isn't it? This is a split thing for you, right? And so, let's talk about a couple things if you don't mind. I want to make sure we hit these major points for you, overarching as much as we can since we've just got this one call. So I don't want to ever cut you off or anything, and I would not.
Oh no,
if we were continuing on and on.
I'm French, so I'm a talker. So go ahead and cut me off if you need to.
Well, it's more just that I want to make sure we touch on the big rocks, so to speak, instead of diving down one rabbit hole. That makes sense. So let's really hit on the self-judgment and trying to remove that, right? So one thing I speak to people a lot about is there's the shoulda, coulda, woulda, and there's good and bad and all those terms. There's right, wrong, and all this stuff, right? That, those aren't really things. They're labels that humans have created and made up. They're made up words, right? So here's what I would say to you is, do you think it's truly bad or wrong of you to feel empty or cry or feel like something's missing in your life because you're torn away from your children living in another town and COVID's made it worse? Is it wrong for you to feel that way?
No, I don't think it's wrong, but I think I make it wrong.
That's what I'm getting at.
No, it shouldn't be wrong because they're a huge part of my life.
Sure. Right? So I want to work on some terminology with you and some thought processes, if that's okay.
Yep.
Okay. So we're going to make some shifts, right? So nothing's good or bad. It just is. Can we agree on that?
Yeah.
Nothing.
My mom's favorite saying. My mom's favorite saying is, "It is what it is." Like that's
right.
There's things you can't control for a reason.
So none of these things are truly good or bad, and even some of the painful and things we might call bad in our lives are some of the things that actually, in the long run, improve us. We grow and improve through struggle. Nothing we do that's really beneficial in life is easy. Was it easy to raise 7 kids?
No.
Right? But was it awesome?
Yeah. Oh, it was the best. Like I said, probably the best job I ever had.
Right. So even though it was hard and you could call certain aspects maybe didn't go right, they went wrong, they went badly, I'm sure at some point in time you felt like a bad mother, right? Because of something, right? I'm sure those things happened for you, right? But when you look at it really, when those things happened that you might have judged yourself as bad or wrong or a bad mother or whatever that sounded like, did they actually make you improve in some way?
Yeah. Well, yes, right. Because then you take what you like learned and then readjusted it and tried it differently the next time. So you do grow from every experience.
Mm-hmm.
I
Right.
believe, anyways, and of course, every kid is different, so every approach will also be different.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Okay.
I agree with that.
So let's talk about. So we're going to talk about some terminology and perception and everything. So do you agree with me that perception is reality? How you look at something, your way of looking at it is your reality.
Yeah, I was just going to say the way the way you look at things is your reality, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how you see things. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And let me ask this: do you believe that you have a choice of how you decide to perceive something?
Yes, though I'm not good at that.
Okay,
but yes, it is right. It is a choice. You choose. Yeah, I will agree with that. Yes.
Okay. So you just said you're not good at that, right? So
well, it's like I know. Sometimes I feel like I know that is what I. If I did it that way, then maybe life would be that more like that. But I guess I'm just not there. Like I know that if I don't know, like woke up every morning and maybe said more positive things to myself, I'd have a more positive outlook to life. But I guess I'm just not there. Like I don't know.
There's so many directions I want to go with you. So no, don't apologize. It's a good thing. I'm trying to get the most benefit for you out of this in this time. So first, so I'm just gonna. Do you mind if I just talk you through a few things for a little bit here?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So, and I'm trying to just get a lot done rapidly. So let's talk about terminology and perception shifts a little bit. So I would suggest to you that as you were talking a minute ago, you judged yourself and you said that you're not good at that, right? You were starting. I could see you starting to form the word "I should" after that, and then you
and then I heard about your shoulda, coulda, wouldas, and I was like,
right. So I'm doing this with you on purpose, right? And so what I'm trying to do is get you to shift from good, bad, right, wrong, shoulda, woulda, coulda, from any of that, right, to two terms. Things are either we're talking about behaviors, right? These are all behaviors we're talking about. They're not you.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep, and that's fair. Yep.
Okay. So we're talking about your behaviors, and even the behaviors don't have to be good, bad, right, wrong, or whatever, right? They can be effective or ineffective at what you're wanting to achieve or how you're wanting to feel.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So I want you to just allow yourself this giant shift in your head.
Oh boy.
That nothing's good or bad, but thinking makes it so.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And
it's our thoughts, our perceptions, and what we choose, how we choose to look at something. That's bringing in self-judgment, right? And that's bringing in these terms humans have made up that we don't have to use, right?
Okay.
And so if we shift those terms to, first off, realizing these are things outside of you. This is not you. So you don't have to judge yourself and feel bad as a person or think that you're good or bad as a person, right? And I mean, at times, sure, certain behaviors in the realm of human beings and how we function together can be judged as right or wrong. I understand that, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you're religious or not, but like you can, go that way, or even just in general laws and everything. To kill someone, we consider wrong.
Yep.
so there's some judgment there. That's probably not ever really a right thing or great or good thing to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
But beside just major things like that, the big, deadly sins and things like that, right? There's no need for all this judgment, right? We're just human beings that are fallible, right? We make mistakes, and that's normal for human beings. We're not perfect, and we're not expected to be. We don't have to expect ourselves to be. So a couple things is if you can take all these things and say they're behaviors and take them outside of yourself, right? And just say that you're always good, you're great, you're loved, you're lovable, right? You're good enough, you're smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like you. Right? That was Stuart Smalley from Saturday Night Live that said that.
Yeah.
But you're all those things no matter what, irregardless, right? The energy, the power, God, whatever you want to call it, whatever your thing is, right? That's your personal thing, right? So who or whatever that is, always you're loved, you're good enough, you're smart enough, you're great, right? That's just the way it is. You know that, right?
I do. I do. Yeah. I do. That's what's weird is like, yes, I do believe that. And I would probably give that exact thing to, a coworker who's having a bad time. But for whatever reason, it's like I don't practice what I preach.
Mm-hmm. And we all struggle with this. So again, I want to normalize all of this for you, Kathy, that this is not just you, it's all of us, but we can change it. We can choose to change these things. Like people used to say, it drives me crazy if somebody says people don't change or can't change, right? That's total BS. And I don't buy it. It's not true. We can all change because most of these are just behavioral patterns and habits, right? And we can absolutely learn new behaviors and habits to replace them. So what I would suggest to you, if you're open to this, is to adopt that behaviors are outside of you, that you're good all the time. You're good, you're lovable, you're likable, love yourself, like yourself. You can make affirmations around that. And, I can rattle mine off to you in a little bit, but like there's something I repeat to myself daily, literally, to help keep me on that path. Right. So there are conscious ways to deal with this and subconscious ways to deal with this stuff. I can make some suggestions later on that too, if you're open to it.
Okay.
So
I'm open to anything. Honestly, I guess I'm just tired of being that, like I said, exhausted all the time. And it's draining, and it is really hard to just like get up in the morning and be like, oh, today's a new day, let's go. Cause you know what's coming, and you're just like, oh my God, there's not enough coffee in the world to do this, but here we go. Yes. So definitely.
Are we in agreement that all these things you're talking about of how you feel and are thinking and possibly judging yourself with terms like good, bad, right, wrong, and shoulda, coulda, woulda, right?
Yeah.
Do you agree that you have a choice to not feel that way?
Yeah, I do agree. Like, I agree that yes. Yeah. Okay. I do.
Okay.
That's what I mean. Like, see, I agree with that. And I full-heartedly would tell somebody that, but I don't know why I struggle with that self-talk, the positive self-talk. Like, why is it so easy to just blame yourself for, things that are like not even in your control. But for some reason, it just feels like.
I'm going to let you off the hook.
Oh, well, thanks.
Does that sound good? So
yeah, sure.
Realize, so again, everything you're verbalizing is completely normal, and most people do say things like this. And these things, so this gets into some serious psychology and stuff like that. But there's something called genetics and memetics. Okay, and if you think of the word memetic as like mimic, right?
Okay.
So genetics are things that are genetically within you that they used to believe couldn't change. Science is finding out that even your genetics can be changed, and often changed through thought. Right?
Oh boy. Yep.
Okay. So, and I'm not going to go deep on this stuff. I just want to throw this concept out there. So the other part of this is the memetics side, which is mimic, right? And so largely, then this comes from psychology and everything. A lot of the studies out there show that a lot of these are called limiting beliefs, honestly, about how we think and feel about ourselves. Many of these are formed when we're ages 2 to 6.
Okay.
And so a lot of these come from, even if we're 2 years old and we can't even we're not even that verbal yet, right? We're still hearing all these things and sensing these energies and emotions. And it's not even always what's verbalized. It could be just the energy and stress of, say, our parents or whoever raised us or anything, right? Or anybody that we're around. So, and I don't think we can dive that far back right now, but know that a lot of this,
enough time for that.
a lot of this stuff could come from there in you. And I just want you to be aware of this. And realize that a lot of the ways you feel right now are probably patterns that were ingrained to you or passed to you by somebody that you're mimicking through memetics, right? Okay. These memetics have come to be called, like Dr. Wayne Dyer called them mind viruses, right? Because it's like limiting beliefs. It's programming we received from those people of how we're supposed to be, act, feel, be perfect, be whatever. Like my wife calls it misperfectionism, is like her alter ego thing that is always beating her up, talking to her, right? And right, it tells us we should be these ways and do all these things and be this perfect person, but that's not real. That's not human, right? And that's comes back to that's judgment. It's self-judgment. So judgment, would you tell me if you'd agree, judgment of self and others, is that not one of the most destructive things in the world that human beings do, is judge?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Right? So what if you could eliminate judgment of yourself and even of other people? Would that feel good?
It would probably feel great. Yeah.
Okay. Do you believe you can
I'm
do
not,
that?
it's weird because I'm not really overly judgmental on other people. I think I'm like probably the hardest on myself.
Of course.
I mean, I have like my work family and friends, and they're always like, Kathy, oh my God, you're so hard on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah,
right.
like, because deep down inside, I think, yeah, like I want things to be good all the time. Like,
mm-hmm.
why can't things just always be good, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's, of course, that's never going to happen, right? There's always the bad day or the whatever. But even when I'm having a bad day, I kind of go, oh my gosh, why do I have to have the bad day? I don't want to have a bad day. Why is this person allowing me to have this bad day? And
I'm going to take something away from you. Okay. You're no longer allowed to say good, bad, or should.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Okay. Right? Because all of those are terms of judgment, and you're judging yourself. So you don't have good or bad days. Awful. You don't have, no. Did you hear what you just said to yourself?
Yes. Okay. Oh, failed.
You see what I'm doing? No. Fail forward, right? We fail forward. There is no failure. If you don't quit at something and quit, as long as you don't quit trying to improve at something, you never fail.
Okay.
Agreed?
Well, yeah. Agreed. Absolutely.
You can't fail if you don't stop working on it. Right? My business can't fail unless I stop trying. Right? I don't fail as a mother unless I stop trying to mother and trying to improve as a mother. Right?
Correct.
Is that right? So if we can agree on those things. So would you like this to change? Would you like to not have self-judgment anymore? Yes,
I would. I would love it.
Cool. It's okay. You can let it out. So can I ask you, do you believe that can be a choice? Do you believe that taking judgment off of yourself and taking that load off your shoulders, can that be a choice for you?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Can you start removing the words good and bad and right and wrong from your vocabulary? Can you choose to say it's ineffective or effective?
I can choose it. Absolutely can choose it. But it'll be hard. It's definitely hard.
Can I pause you?
I've done it for so long.
Can I pause you though? So it's not going to be hard for you. So this is a thought. This is a mind virus. Okay. Does that make sense? That this is a way you've been trained to think. It's a pattern. It's a habit. Have you ever broken a habit before?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like what? What's a habit you've broken?
Well, I used to be 250 pounds.
Okay.
And so, I had to quit I was a non-eater. I had to train myself to eat, and I had to train myself to, and I did it without a trainer. I did it all on my own without a gym. Like everything was done at home. So I pretty much had to uproot everything that I was doing before and completely change it. And I've kept it off for, I'd say about 4 years, and I've put a bit of weight back on, but not like nothing overly serious. But
Kathy, that's incredible. So do you hear the amount of power that you have right now? Do you realize how powerful you are? Do you hear how much you just accomplished?
I hear it, I guess, but I don't know why it doesn't make me feel better, if that makes sense.
Okay. Is that a choice?
Yep.
If your friend went from 250 pounds to whatever you are now and did it all on their own and completely removed old habits that weren't serving them any longer and installed new habits that are serving them and held it up onto that for 4 years, what would you say to them?
Oh, I would be totally impressed. And like that. And that's what I mean. Like I am.
So you're going to start choosing right now to say that to yourself.
Right. I'll turn around and look at myself. Yes.
But you can. Right? So can you tell yourself that right now? Can you congratulate yourself for your progress, please? Seriously, I don't want you to feel weird about it. Like this, I'm congratulating.
It does feel weird, but yeah, I do. I have looked in the mirror and I went like, "Holy cow! Like, look how far you've come." And you've done just amazing. But yeah, I have done it in the past lots. Like, I mean, as the weight went down and as I felt better.
So is there another person in there that's talking to you, telling you that that's not okay to do for yourself? Or that comes back and tells you the opposite, or?
Yeah, it's kind of like, yes, I definitely have that. Like,
do you want to name that person or anything?
A lot of it is Kathy, but there is
So Kathy, so Kathy, can we call that something else?
I'd say, yeah.
And you can borrow something if you want, and I can pass you something if you'd like.
Okay, let's do that. Okay.
So what you're talking about, we all have this, right? We all have this. You've seen all the, there's the cartoons and everything with the angel on one shoulder, the devil on the other, right? And it's been compared to the two wolves fighting inside of us, and which one wins is the one you feed, right? You want to feed the effective wolf. We'll call it effective. It's not good or bad, right? So feed the effective wolf that creates the effective behaviors, the effective thoughts, which create the effective emotions. That actually, when I say effective, are moving towards the goal you have, which I imagine is wanting to feel good about yourself, feel good more often, feel weightless. Is that all correct?
That is all absolutely nail on the head. Yeah.
Okay. So then let's make that happen, right? So this is your choice. I will say this to you. This is your choice, truly. And so just like you changed your habits and patterns to keep the weight off, and it sounds like you started eating more because you're under eating. A lot of people do that. I deal with a lot of clients that are that way. So it's a very normal thing also. It's common. So you repaired that and identified it on your own. So you were a very intelligent and powerful woman, first off. Sincerely. And I need you to say that to yourself. Can you say that about yourself out loud, please?
Oh, I don't know. I struggle with this.
It's easy for you.
Okay, what did you say? I'm a smart and what lady?
You're a very intelligent and powerful woman.
I am an intelligent and powerful woman.
Right. How's that feel?
Awkward, to be honest. Okay. It feels good, but it's awkward.
Okay. Can you say it again? Please.
I'm an intelligent and powerful woman.
How did that feel?
Better.
Okay. You want to do it again? Please.
I'm an intelligent and powerful woman.
And you've made major shifts in your life for the better. Can you say that?
And I've made... Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know why this is so hard.
Don't apologize. Okay. It's normal. But it can be better. This can shift. You're shifting it right now as we speak. You're moving through something. Let's get you on the other side of it.
That would be great.
Okay. So go ahead and can you say that?
What am I saying?
So that you've made major shifts in your life for the better on your own.
I've made major shifts in my life for the better on my own.
Mm-hmm. Right? So that means what? Can you say that you're enough? You're
That's
good
a
enough.
hard one because
That's okay. No, it's not. It's going to be easy for you.
Enough is kind of that word that
you can do it.
I struggle with.
So can you say you're good enough, please?
I am good enough.
Okay. How'd that feel?
To be honest,
yep.
not really believable.
Okay. Can we try again? So let me ask this. Can you tell me, we just talked about a reason. So we are valuable no matter what, but if you want proof, look at the improvements you've made, right? Like, aren't you good enough because, first off, just because you are, like we're taught that, we know that's true deep down, right? You're good enough just because you are. If you're looking for some evidence of that, first off, you're still alive and kicking after 44 years. A lot of people don't even make it that long, right? And you've survived all that. You've raised 7 children, right? And made it through all that. And it sounds like you've done a fantastic job, and they're all on their own, like managing to get through life in some way, shape, or form, right? They're not having to live with you and depend on you still. So congratulations, you did a good job, right? You also took on your own challenges. You took on weight loss. You started eating correctly. You identified those problems, behaviors, did all that on your own, right? So that's an amazing accomplishment again, right? So if you need proof, is that enough proof to say that you're good enough and feel that you're good enough?
Yeah, in that aspect, yes, I am. I'm good enough. Yep.
Okay. And so, so I guess the shift will be to move towards you're good enough just because you're here, that you're good enough. Do you think you can make that shift over time by talking to yourself this way?
Think over time, I think over time, like that is kind of my goal, right? I want to wake up in the morning and just know I'm good enough because I'm here. And not for anyone else, for myself.
I would suggest, and I would like to, not that you need my permission, but again, I give you permission to say these things to yourself and to realize and be aware, self-aware that you are good enough just by being here. I've had a conversation with you now for 50 minutes, and you're one of the kindest people I think I've met by conversing with you and by all you're describing. So I feel like I'm getting to know you fairly well. You're telling me about a lot of your inner stuff. You're good enough. You're good enough. You're smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like you, right? Like all that, right? And you don't need a reason for it. Truly, you can find reasons and create evidence for yourself, right? Just to help build that up when you're struggling with it, because we all struggle. But you can struggle less over time the more you practice this stuff. So,
right. I think that is it. It's like the habit. Like make it a positive habit, and it becomes positive, right? And so I have struggled with that a lot in the past. So I guess it's time to choose to do it differently.
Yeah. And these things can be attacked from top down, which is the conscious mind, right?
Yep.
They can also be improved. I shouldn't say attacked. They can be adjusted top down.
Yeah.
And that's by us like saying things like affirmations and things out loud can be top down. But sometimes it requires some bottom up, or it's much faster from bottom up to get into it from the subconscious side. That's where there are therapies out there. There's something called EMDR. And we can share more information with you about that. There's actually a website called emdria.org that we can share with you later. And that's a way, if you were open to finding a therapist in your area for that. I've used it. My wife's used it. We found major improvements from that in helping more rapidly and less painfully undo a lot of these, what we call limiting beliefs or negative self-talk. And you can do it, again, from the top-down side, but it just really helps speed the process. And you don't have to relive the story as much with EMDR, with that sort of treatment. It's called eye movement desensitization reprogramming. So that's something you go to a professional for. That's an actual therapist, and they're actually certified in EMDR specifically, if you're interested in that. There's cognitive behavioral therapy out there, which is another, it kind of helps you learn skills and habits more rapidly and better, is another way to approach it. So just, those are out there and available, and ways to approach all this. And let me just say, it's perfectly fine. I didn't used to be able to allow myself to go get therapy and things like that and to talk about it. I'll tell you, I've struggled with anxiety from childhood my whole life and had to work through that. But just to show you evidence of ability to change, from somebody who, I'm very introverted. I don't know if you guessed that. But so my nature is to be introverted and not really talk a lot. But when I get into things like this that I'm passionate about, I have a lot to say. I try to listen more than I talk. But, with that, I want you to have evidence that these shifts are possible, because I had massive anxiety. I used to get literally physically ill from it, get sent home from school, all this kind of stuff, have GI issues from it, all kinds of stuff like that. It was incredibly painful. I didn't enjoy it. But I was able to overcome it to the point that, I told you earlier and shared that I worked in the fire service, right?
Yep.
So through that course, that helped me move through a lot of that. As a paramedic, that's very stressful, right? Anxiety doesn't blend well with that.
Oh, absolutely.
Neither did being a lieutenant and in command of big fire scenes and major highway accidents and spills and all this kind of stuff, right? So I was able to work through that over time, and I was doing that a lot on my own, like you. So we know these shifts are possible because look at the shifts you've made even for your physical health, nutrition, movement, all that kind of stuff. And it sounds like, I mean, you've dropped like 70 pounds, it sounds like, or so?
Well, it was down 100 pounds and now in about 85 pounds. Yep.
Crazy. Like, that's crazy impressive. Because I do that part for a living also. I help people with that and take them through a program on that. So I can tell you that that's incredible. Most people can't and won't do that on their own. So you are a very intelligent and powerful woman who has done amazing things in her life, right? Please start saying these things to yourself on a daily basis. I would suggest constructing an affirmation. So here's my full affirmation. I'll just rattle it off to you. And I can share some stuff with Carla. So I have a coach also. I have a couple of them actually that help me in life to make my business better, make me better personally. I've had mindset coaches, therapists. I currently, to help me stay on my own program for nutrition and exercise, I have an accountability coach that I've hired. Right. Okay. So sometimes it takes lots of help to help us really progress on these things faster. I want certainty and speed, right? I don't want to mess around for the rest of my life. So that's why I've gotten help. Right. But because I'd rather get there faster and have as much enjoyment of life and fulfillment as possible.
Right. Exactly. And that's kind of why I reached out to Carla. It was just kind of like, I am 44 years old and I still feel like I am dealing with things from when I was 20. Like, who wants to carry baggage for 20 some years? Like, I'm done. I don't want to carry this anymore. I want to move forward, and moving forward is hard when your baggage like weighs 1,000 pounds. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's so exhausting.
Gonna make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Set down the baggage. You don't have to carry it. So an affirmation. I'll just rattle this off for you, and I'd love to hear you're welcome to message me later or something like that. But I'd love to hear you construct something like this for yourself. My affirmation that I use for myself daily is, I am so happy and grateful now that I am easily lean, muscular, healthy, happy, and abundant in all ways. I love myself. I make great choices, and I live a balanced life. Right? That's mine. So I also now say to myself, because one of my coaches taught me this, these are kind of seen as the 4 major like affirmations that everything else spurs off of. And, they can sound a little different, but it's, I like myself. I am good enough. Right?
Yeah.
I am responsible. Right? Because we're responsible for all this and making these choices and decisions. Right?
Absolutely.
I am lovable and capable is the 4th. Right?
Okay.
So we can share these more with you in writing somewhere or something. We'll figure that out. And maybe Carla can help with that afterwards. But I know we're getting to the hour. I see Carla nodding her head at me.
Yeah, she's like, okay now. Like,
so can I just ask you to identify what are the major takeaways and shifts that you're going to immediately start working on, please?
I think like as soon as I get off here, I'm going into that mirror and I'm going to say, like, you are strong, you are smart, love yourself, like yourself, because I thought I was doing good.
You're doing great.
But I think that's the main thing is if you don't love yourself, how else is anyone else going to see you more than you are, right? So I have to start loving me for me, not for anyone else, if that makes sense.
Yes, and I would suggest real quick just that you're drawing approval from within instead of without. Is the whole shift, because it sounds like a lot of approval came from being a mother and kids and all and the success and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
So I need you to just approve of yourself, period, without any of those things, just because you are. The other thing I would suggest is remember that we're erasing a few words from your vocabulary. Can you remember what those words are?
Couldn't, shouldn't, bad, good, all of the stuff that we
right, wrong,
label ourselves. Yep, right, wrong.
And
Absolutely.
So what are we shifting to? What's the new habit? Do you remember? And it's okay if you don't. I do.
I can't remember what the words are, but they're
That's okay.
Like I don't remember.
Sure.
I mean, I do, but I don't.
So all these things, right? They're thoughts, feelings, they're behaviors, right? They're behaviors, they're thoughts, feelings, they're stuff. They're not you, right? They're separate from you. And there's even more exercises. If you can watch these things go by, I've talked to Carla about this stuff. You can watch them go down the river. You can sit on a bridge and watch them go through and evaluate your thoughts and feelings and all this stuff. So those are other exercises that we could chat about later through messaging or something like that if you want to.
Yeah, I would love to, because I would love to move forward in life. Like, I'm done being stuck where I am.
So the big takeaways are start affirming yourself just as you are, for just being you and being here. That's because you're good enough, smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like you, right? And then start creating your own affirmations that you say to yourself daily. I want you to write them down. So write them, say them, read them aloud, all that kind of stuff on a daily basis, every single morning, every single night. Okay. And then beyond that, so we talked about the terminology. So we're dropping good, bad, right, wrong, all these judgment of self or others, right? And those are gone. So we're replacing that with a new habit or behavior, and that is to use the terminology of either effective or ineffective, while realizing that these things are outside of yourself, that you're still good no matter what. And when you make an error in this, then it's okay. You're failing forward. That's how you learn. Edison tried to create a light bulb, and he found 2,000 ways that it doesn't work. Right? He didn't fail 2,000 times. He found 2,000 ways that it doesn't work, and he found one way that was successful because he never quit, so he didn't fail. Okay? So that's what I'd love to leave you with. I'm sorry, Carla, if I'm pushing on time. Is that all helpful, Kathy, I hope?
It was super helpful. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it definitely turned on some of those light bulbs that have not been working for a while.
Awesome.
So yeah, I'm excited to try the new things. Absolutely.
Okay. And this is going to be easy for you.
All right.
Right? You're going to say that to yourself. This is easy for you.
This is going to be easy.
Things are not hard. Things are easy.
Because they're not hard. They're going to be
choice, and it's perspective and perception. Okay.
Absolutely.
I've loved talking with you. Thank you so much.
No, thank you for everything. And Carla, thank you.
Well, thank you, Greg, and thank you, Kathy. Kathy, I just want to thank you so much for your vulnerability and your honesty and your openness, because, I mean, Greg can't help you if you're not willing to do that. And so thank you. I know that's hard to do, especially in this format.
No, it wasn't hard. It was
easy. Okay. It was easy. That's good. I love it. You're already applying those principles. Awesome, Kathy. And Greg, I just want to thank you for your time, for your focus. I know it takes a lot of focus, really listening to Kathy and trying to help her in the best way. And I know that you did. And Kathy, I would encourage you, everything that you just learned, maybe just go write some of this stuff down so you don't forget about it.
I'm actually going to do that right before I have to go to work here.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys both so much. Really appreciated both of your time. And I know that it's been helpful for you, Kathy. I know it'll be helpful also for our listeners. So I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Thanks, Carla.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Kathy.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Thanks a lot.
This episode is brought to you by my company, Power Fitness Online. We are a tight-knit fitness community, and we guide you every step of the way to get fit and stay fit through our live workouts, nutrition coaching, and incredible support team. Go to powerfitnessedson.com to learn more. Thank you for tuning into the podcast today. If you enjoyed it, please leave a positive review on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Music, or wherever you're listening. And if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, I would love to see your comments. I would love to know what you think about this episode and interact with you. I love hearing from you. Once again, I'm Carla Rand, and this is our special coaching edition of the Carla Rand Show.